I used to think strength was how heavy you can lift. If you can lift heavy, you're going to be strong. But that's when I got slapped in the face and realized strength isn't really about how much you can lift. And I realized that when I met this one guy that could bench really heavy but couldn't even do 10 pull-ups. And the truth with that is most people train for strength that doesn't even work outside of the gym. And that's when I realized strength isn't just about how heavy you can go and about the numbers, but it's about function. I used to have a powerlifting phase where I tried to just focus on the numbers and get as heavy as I can, lift as heavy as I can. I was just hyper focused on the numbers. I did this powerlifting phase when I was doing boxing, and I was also training calisthenics as well. So I had a good taste of both sides. I had a good taste of focusing on the numbers and just trying to get as strong as possible, just trying to lift as heavy as possible. But then I also had the functional side of it, where mobility is more of a priority, and so is actual function. And the funny thing is, when I had this little powerlifting phase, I couldn't even bench 100 kg. But now in the present, I can bench 100 kg for reps, even though I stopped powerlifting a couple months back. And yet I'm stronger now than when I was just lifting to lift heavy numbers. I'll make sure to watch to the end of the video because this is something a lot of people just don't simply understand. And I've had this debate with multiple people in and out of the gym. And I'm going to try be as unbiased as possible from someone that's been training calisthenics. Listen to what I have to say, make your own opinions, and let me know in the comments. Before I try to get any points across, let's just define what actually is functional strength. In my opinion, functional strength is three things. So the 3 points are control, transferability, stability, and range. Control, being able to move your own body effortlessly. 2 being transferability, so strength that transfers into other sports like boxing, parkour. Number 3, stability and range, so not just strength in static holds, but in movement as well. Actually having strength through emotion. So for example, a guy that can bench really, really heavy versus a guy that can handstand push up and punch really fast. Now personally, I believe control is just something you get from calisthenics. When you're doing any weightlifting movement, powerlifting movement, you're only using a specific muscle group and not your entire body. In calisthenics, any exercise you do is using your whole entire body. Even if it's just a back exercise, you're still using a lot of your body. And obviously, a calisthenics athlete compared to a weightlifter, a calisthenics athlete can easily move their body in more ways than a weightlifter can. Why? Because the control and stability built through their exercises they do allows them to actually move their body in that type of way. This, I believe, is a draw, just with a little caveat. Calisthenics, yes, the strength can transfer into everything pretty well. Boxing, you'll have more power, you'll be faster because your body is already used, it's enhanced to have a good sense of stability and control. So you have more of that mind-muscle connection. And then weightlifting will also help you with this because you're isolating certain muscle groups in a certain movement. And if you train in a way for that certain sport, you can definitely get stronger through weightlifting for that certain sport. But I suppose you would have to do specific training to see a good result, whereas in calisthenics, you just get a good result no matter what you do. Even if you just train your skills, you don't need to put time into the day to actually target that certain sport. Now, this is the caveat. I had this conversation with this guy at the gym, and he understood how a calisthenics athlete can do a handstand push-up and they can bench 100 kg without training at all for the bench, but someone that can bench 100 kg can't do a handstand push-up. So the calisthenics athlete can do 2 of the things. One he doesn't even train for. The weightlifter can do the one thing he trains for, but he can't do the thing he doesn't train for. That's the difference. The calisthenics athlete can do something they don't train for, whereas the weightlifter can't do the thing they don't train for. So they can't do the handstand push-up, but they can bench 100 kg. The calisthenics athlete can bench 100 kg, and they also can do a handstand push-up. So it's that transferability, because not only does the calisthenics athlete get the control and the stability, but they also build the strength with their body weight, which just transfers into any weightlifting exercise. Now, stability and range, I believe calisthenics takes the cake on this one, because everything in calisthenics involves you building strength around a movement. In powerlifting, you have your squats, deadlift, and bench. These are all lifts that you don't need to move as much compared to some calisthenics exercises. Now, with all the points laid out, you can come up with your own opinion, but personally, I believe calisthenics still is better in 3 of these points compared to powerlifting. Now, you have to bear in mind all these must fall under the umbrella of functional training. Yes, the weightlifter can do things a calisthenics athlete can't, but personally, I believe these 3 categories are what actually define functional strength. So now that we've gotten out of the way that calisthenics is actually the most effective way to train for functional strength, how do you do it? How do you actually train to build this strength within calisthenics? For me, I had absolutely no strength when I started out. I was skinny and I couldn't even do a push-up and a pull-up. So for you to actually build functional strength, you need to work on the basics. You need to build a structure where your body can hold itself to actually be able to do some of the advanced skills where the functional strength really does excel. So doing the basics will increase your body weight control, your mobility, your core engagement, your explosive work, and strength through a certain range. For example, with the push-ups, if you have 0 strength, your strength through the actual range of the push-up will be very bad. The longer you do it, you'll actually get stronger at that motion of going up and down. And that's when you can actually bring in harder variations to make it harder for yourself to get stronger. Now, I highly encourage to combine styles. Don't just pick an only calisthenics routine. Don't just pick an only weightlifting routine. Combine the 2 because both of them have pros and cons, but when they are put together, that's when you can actually build the best amount of strength. I train as a hybrid. I do boxing and I weightlift and I also do calisthenics. This is perfect to become the strongest human being I can actually become. With functional strength, you want to focus on the basics, and then for the mobility side of it, you need to pick 2 skills, a push and a pull skill, and this will, over time, as you actually just train these skills, your mobility will increase, as well as your core engagement. So for example, if you're training for the front lever, you can guarantee your core engagement is going to go stronger than it previously was because you're actually training a movement that requires it. So for the actual mobility and core engagement aspect of it, pick skills like the L set that will help you get stronger at these aspects. You can also do explosive work with weights and calisthenics as well to increase your explosiveness, which will carry over into any sport you want to do. So that's why I believe it's good to combine both, because they do go hand in hand if you train them correctly. Personally, with me, I believe lifting isn't to lift crazy numbers. It's to lift to get stronger, to actually use your strength in day-to-day life. Calisthenics helps you with this. Weightlifting also helps you with this. But personally, for me, I believe calisthenics is better. But I just combine the 2 because both of them do good things. And when they're combined together, you'll get the best result. This way, you're actually capitalizing on your body being strong and being able to use it in day-to-day life instead of just lifting heavy numbers. I think functional strength isn't even about looking strong. It's just about having the strength when it really matters. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and if this opened your eyes, subscribe. I make a video every week to help you guys build this kind of strength.